Hey, Paul Perotti here from the Grappling Dads Podcast, and today we're going to talk about inadvertent injuries in BJJ. So, what do I mean by inadvertent injuries? Well, it's a wide-ranging topic, right? It could be you're doing competition training, you're training as hard as you can, and yeah, I get accidents happen. You really want to be careful about training 100% every single time you roll. If you do that, you're going to have all kinds of inadvertent injuries. That's why a lot of people like to do flow rolls, situation rolls, going 50%, 20%, whatever, and save the 100% rolls kind of far and few between, right? It's for competition training or just every now and then. Otherwise, you're going to end up messed up a lot. What else I'm talking about is more innocuous, right? So they're accidental. You didn't see that coming. One example is we had a guy with a neck injury, and he was rolling on the ground and having fun, and it was kind of an open mat scenario. And another person came up, just joking around, having a good time, and kind of tackles him from the back. Nothing hard, nothing dangerous, you'd think, but because he wasn't ready, it screwed his neck up. So now he's out of jiu-jitsu because his neck's all messed up. That's a big issue. That can happen all the time because, like the boxing saying goes, you get knocked out by the punch you don't see coming. Same thing here. If you're tackling a buddy from behind, trying to like start that roll going and being funny, you can tweak necks, shoulders, elbows. A lot of bad things can happen. So while it sounds fun and usually nothing goes wrong, things can happen, especially when you get old and broken like myself, where it happens easily. And I get it. I'm worst case scenario. I get hurt often and a lot because I just got, old man issues, if you will. The fact of the matter is you still don't want to do that to your training partners. You don't want to be horse playing around when somebody else isn't paying attention and get tweaked. Also, being aware of your surroundings, like you can hurt other people that you're not even rolling with. You can kick them in the face because you're not aware you're rolling too close. One particular example I know of, back when I first started jiu-jitsu, it was horrific. One group was doing, it was live rolling, but from the feet, right? They were doing a takedown, and then they went all the way across the mat, landed on another couple that was already on the mat, and it destroyed this man's leg. I mean, it just got obliterated, broke right in half. And that took a long time to heal. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to have to go so hard and win so bad that you're willing to hurt other people on the mat that you're not even rolling with. And that's simply uncalled for. Don't do that. You don't want to be the reason why somebody can't train jiu-jitsu anymore because you had to win that round. I was talking to Paul Elliott, friend of the show, and he was saying a story about a couple of ladies were training, and they were pulling guard. Well, not really pulling, jumping guard. I guess that's worse. I don't know. And one training partner wasn't ready for it, and she didn't have her knee tight enough or in a good position, and it just got obliterated. So, I mean, it tore all the ligaments and tendons, and she's screaming in pain. They had to call 911 because it was a horseplay thing. They weren't paying attention. They weren't taking it serious. Oddly enough, it's like a dichotomy, right? So you can take it too serious and train too hard, and that's how you end up hurting a training partner. Or you're not taking it serious, you're just playing around and having fun, horse playing, and you can end up hurting a training partner. So you want to be cognizant on the mat of your surroundings. You want to be aware of just how hard each other's going. Another example, if one person thinks it's a flow roll and another person doesn't, you can get hurt. That's why a lot of times we say, have a conversation with your training partner before you start. Like, are you working on something? How hard do you want to go? Do you want to flow roll? Do you want to do 50%? Or do you want to get after it? Both people have to be aware of where this roll is going to go to keep each other safe. One thing we talk about a lot is you don't need to go 100% all the time. It's a recipe for disaster. And it's not a very good way to learn, because if you don't know enough jiu-jitsu all to go 100%, you're learning bad habits. You're learning bad techniques, or they're not even techniques, right? So just use the jiu-jitsu that you know when you roll. So if you're a beginner, you're a white belt, blue belt, and even purple belt, just use the jiu-jitsu that you know and understand. And if you're horsepowering through something, or if you just have to go 100% to make something work, you're probably not doing it right. Or you're hanging on to something that you've already lost, and that's how people can get hurt. Croyler Gracie, he has a rule in his gym that he doesn't allow any white-on-white action, if you will. So he doesn't let white belts roll with other white belts. And a lot of schools don't do that. It kind of sounds harsh, and some schools might be full of white belts, right? So it'd be kind of weird to have nobody rolling because they can't roll with each other. But he's got a good point, right? So if you have two people that don't really know what they're doing and you have them rolling and doing jiu-jitsu, again, it's another recipe for disaster. They're not going to do jiu-jitsu. They're just going to be not even wrestling, because wrestling even has moves and techniques. It's fighting without purpose. So when you start and you're a white belt, just work on the few things that you know until you have enough of a repertoire to do jiu-jitsu. Or, like Croyler does, roll with a blue belt, because they can keep you safe. So if you're that spazzy white belt, maybe you are, maybe you're not, but a lot of them are, right? Because they just don't know the fight or flight kicks in and they just go 100% and they're doing whatever to survive. If you're rolling with another white belt and they don't know what they're doing, you can get hurt so easily. When you're first learning jiu-jitsu, they ought to have a class, right, where it says, hey, you should have your knees like this or your hands like that, so that when you roll over, you're not wrist locking yourself or heel hooking yourself, because that can happen, right? So if I'm rolling with a new white belt and I go to do a hip bump sweep, but their leg is in the wrong position, I'm aware and I can stop it. But if it's another white belt, they're not going to understand the repercussions they're about to have if they keep going with that sweep, because one person doesn't understand what's about to happen to their knee. It's the worst case scenario. You don't want that happening. My point is, inadvertent injuries happen in all aspects of jiu-jitsu. Horseplay, someone's not ready, you don't understand what's going on in the roll, how hard you're supposed to go. You have two new people that don't know what they're doing. You have people that just train way too hard all the time. They can't back it off. It can be a real problem. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that to yourself, and you don't want to do that to a training partner, certainly. So keep all that in mind. I want to keep this video short, kind of sweet, to the point, but I want to ask you, have you ever had an inadvertent injury? What did you do about it? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll have a discussion over it. Also, if you like this video and you want to see more of them, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that kind of fun stuff. Thanks. See ya.